Stossel.
We start with myth number 7. Because Americans are so fat, it's government's job to help us eat better.
Changing old habits is never easy.
No, it's not. So the First Lady says to change behavior,
And it's going to take government doing its part.
if Michelle Obama wants to inspire us by exercising on the White House lawn, that's great. But government doing its part usually means force.
This has nothing to do with banning your ability to buy as many sugary drinks as you want, simply the size of the cup that can be used.
In my hometown, the mayor went to war against big cups of soda. He made cups this size illegal.
This is the single biggest step any city, I think, has ever taken to curb obesity.
Please, I can still buy 2 of these. That's 32 ounces. Or I can go to a supermarket, buy one of these monsters. How does this curb obesity?
Thank you.
My mayor's also proud that he's forced every chain restaurant to clearly post calorie count. There they are.
There were more than a few skeptics, but today both reforms are recognized as national models.
Sadly, that's true. Under Obamacare, all big chains will now have to post calorie counts, even though they don't work. A study by professors at New York University and Yale tracked customers at McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. They found half the customers noticed the calorie counts, and some said it influenced their ordering. But when researchers checked receipts, they found people ordered more calories. The author of The Food Police, Jason Lusk, studied that too.
And what we find is those labels really don't change behavior at all. So what you're doing is asking companies to undertake a cost that has essentially no benefit to the consumer. It's a sign of a government that's willing to step into your daily food choices, even though they know it won't work, for the sole reason of creating a symbol. I mean, what kind of government is that?
An intrusive one. In my state, the legislator most eager to ban foods and require that those signs be posted is Felix Ortiz.
It didn't work. They've tested it. In fact, they ate more.
Well, I'm disagree with that.
Now he's going after salt.
The ban of salt in the restaurants in the state of New York.
Too much salt is bad for some people with hypertension or some other problems. But there's no evidence that it's harmful to most of us. In fact,
some studies show that reduced salt intake among some segments of the population actually increased the chances of death.
So because you shouldn't have salt, I can't have salt?
It's based on the statistics that is coming out from CDC.
For some people, maybe 20% of the people, but not everybody.
Hold the cheeseburgers. Across the pond in Europe, Denmark is becoming the first country in the world to impose a fat tax.
Some members of the Food Police say consumers should pay more to buy less healthy food. The chattering class loved what Denmark did.
Denmark has decided to implement what they're calling a fat tax. Basically, you go to the supermarket, you buy a food that has above a certain level of fat, they charge you extra. All right, do we feel good about this, Doc?
Absolutely.
The fat tax passed the Danish parliament overwhelmingly. But Danes just switched to cheaper food that was just as unhealthy, or crossed the border to shop in neighboring countries. Within 1 year, Denmark repealed its fat tax. So far, its American boosters haven't mentioned that, so I will.
They repealed it.
As they repeal it, I think they're making a big mistake on repealing.
Well, they tried it for a year. They tried your dumb idea for a year, and they said, oh my goodness, bad idea.
I believe it's a great idea.
Other great ideas from the Food Police are taxes on candy or fast food.
How do you define a fast food? You can go to McDonald's, you can order a salad, or you can order a Big Mac. Both of those are fast food. You can bet that the lobbyists are going to be on the table when we make those rules as to what a fast food is.
Illinois has had a similar problem with its candy tax. What exactly is candy? The bureaucrats decided this Hershey bar is taxable candy, but this Hershey bar isn't because it contains flour. Store clerks don't know what to charge.
In our donuts, we have flour, sugar, eggs, salt.
Katie Rosenhaus's dessert won an award on the Food Network.
Don't you think you're poisoning people?
No.
You're making everybody fat.
No. Without a little fat and sugar, what would life be?
We asked her to make donuts without the so-called bad stuff.
The healthy version I made today has no sugar, no salt, very little fat. It's not fried, it's baked, showing you how different dessert can be without all of the good stuff.
The good stuff? Well, it has
Yeah.
egg whites. That's good.
Egg whites are good, but it's not like egg yolks.
Will people mind the difference? Let's try a taste test. We got a healthy donut and a regular donut.
Almost everyone liked the regular donut.
That's awesome.
And how about the other one?
Not as decadent.
Not so good?
Doesn't really taste like anything.
You need the sugar.
I wanted to like the healthy donut.
It's like eating bread.
Not what I'm looking for in a donut.
Some people did like the healthier version.
That's baked.
It's good. For a baked donut, it's very good.
Taste is subjective, so it's good that people have choices.
And we're trying to give you alternative and option where you can make better choices.
Where do you get off saying you're giving us more choice? You're banning things. You're giving us less choice.
Well, let me just say, you're absolutely right. I'm trying to ban those stuff that is not good for the consumer.
You're a bully.
Well, I've been calling worse.
What business is it of yours what I put in my own body? Isn't that part of freedom?
You can have the freedom, but when it's come down to the healthcare costs, then we need to tackle them. And if we are not into healthy lifestyle, government will be blamed for not doing the right thing.
So because government is responsible, because we have a socialized healthcare system, you get to take away my freedom?
I think what I'm trying to do is to help you to have a better life.
You're like a cancer. You're spreading a bad thing that costs a lot of money and doesn't do any good.
And I am a good counselor who providing good, healthy advice for the best public health of our country.
A good cancer. That brings us to myth number 6. Obamacare is good for business.
We are done.
Democrats say it is.
The fact is, it's very good for small business. It's incredibly good for small business.
They are why we committed ourselves to this cause.
The White House specifically says on its website, myth debunked, business will not suffer under health reform.
It's all good, Obamacare? It's not going to hurt business?
You can't be wealthy unless you're healthy.
You may remember Congressman Alan Grayson's support of Obamacare.
Remember, the Republican plan, don't get sick. And if you do get sick, die quickly.
I was surprised to learn Grayson used to be a businessman. He helped create a tech company called IDT.
With Penny Talk from IDT, international calls to...
You're an unusual politician, having really created something, created wealth, run IDT. I would think you would see the burden all these rules put on businesses.
Point to one rule that actually has had a dramatic impact on job creation or on small business.
Well, it's not so much one rule, it's the pile of rules.
Here's Obamacare, and this is just the start, because many pages say the secretary shall produce more regulation.
Well, put together that big pile of rules. Which are the bad ones?
All right, what about the tax on medical devices? A bunch of Democrats now object to this.
Listen, we have to pay for it somehow.
Obamacare imposes a steep tax on companies that make medical devices. Things like pacemakers, artificial limbs, digital thermometers. This can be a profitable business, but it's also one that saves lives. The new tax means they'll probably save fewer lives. So now, even many Senate Democrats want that part of Obamacare killed.
Don't we want more medical devices?
When you pass a law that costs something, you have to come up with the money for it.
Obamacare also forces more business owners to pay more for workers' health care. Lauren Goodrich runs restaurants in Maine and New Hampshire.
Thanks for choosing Subway today.
He hires lots of kids and offers health insurance to most full-time workers who stick around.
You got 20 Subway shops.
Yes.
How many employees?
I have 180 employees.
So Obamacare, the point is to get your employees better health care.
I think it's a noble cause, but I can't provide for every single need of every single employee. In a low-margin retail restaurant business, this bill is devastating.
Goodrich says his profit margin's already smaller because he's had to pay specialists to try to explain Obamacare's rules.
Accountants and insurance agents and lawyers to try to figure out how I'm going to be able to comply with the bill. And they still can't give me the answer.
What can I get for you?
Obamacare says he must buy expensive insurance for all full-time workers or pay a fine. Either, he says, will slash his profit.
I can hear the people listening saying, so what? He's a rich guy. He's got 20 stores. Make less profit.
Yeah, well, you could say that, but you have to have a profit to be able to expand your business. I'm not going to be hiring more people.
So raise prices.
I have so many customers that come in with the exact change for their lunch in their hand. They're very, very price conscious.
I just wonder, who are these businesses on the margin? You know,
But there are always some just not sure if expanding is going to make them a profit?
So on the basis of that, we're going to deny 15 million people coverage?
It's nice to give people coverage, but he does impose costs. Goodrich says the cost will force him to cut full-time workers.
I'll absolutely have to cut many people down to part-time.
And people the law was meant to help. Maybe him, maybe her, will be hurt.
They'll have to go get another job. They'll have to work 2 jobs to make ends meet, which is sad.
It's an extra burden. You're always adding burdens.
Who is we?
You congressmen, you Democratic congressmen especially.
I visited communist countries while they were still communist, okay? I know what it looks like to be in a place where there really is a burden. I don't see our country being that way.
And we're not, yet. But we should learn from history and stop putting more burdens on guys like him.
You need me. I employ your teenagers. Some have gone off to run their own businesses because of my training. My business is needed.
Coming